It is Coffee Talk. We're going to see if we have gone live today and we're actually making it work again. So, as you guys know, I went to a different type of streaming channel and it didn't seem to go too well. So, I'm trying to go back to Restream and get all that mess figured out so that I can be going live again, working with you guys and coming on for Coffee Talks and Fiverr Friday. We also have the chat is re-enabled, so make sure you say hello, put your name. Angela Oldfest is the first in the chat. Hey, Angela, it's so good to have you. And welcome to this show. It's all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business, sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. I'm hoping everything's working like through YouTube and Facebook as well. I had gone to a format to where it just streamed through YouTube, and I couldn't even see the comments and everything like that. So if you're from Facebook, YouTube, just go ahead and say hello. Put your name in the chat. Trying to see where we are at. It looks like we are on YouTube. We should be on Facebook and LinkedIn. We're there. So hopefully we get some people coming from there. So anyways, it's so good to see you guys this morning. And yes, someone from Facebook. I love it. But thank you guys. I'm glad to be back doing these and going through Restream. Hopefully it works out well. So you have to take OBS and format it, get the stream keys and everything correct. And hey, that's awesome. We got some people coming in from YouTube. I love it. I love it. I love it. Today we've got a really good topic. And I was actually doing a coaching session yesterday. And this topic came up with a newer voice actor and, what rates should you be charging for your voiceover business? I think this is something that we all are always looking at if you've been in the game for a while, what rate should we be at right now? Should we raise our rates? Should we lower our rates, especially if business slows down or speeds up? What exactly should we be doing? By the way, on a side note, make sure you've got your coffee. Gotta get a sip of coffee here, because this is a big topic. But and then if you're brand new, you're kind of thinking, well, where do I even start? How do I charge people when I've not done any voiceover work? But I don't want to undervalue my services because, every service or every product, everything that we sell, has a price. So I want to kind of dive in with that today, hopefully give you an idea of what you could be charging or what you should be charging. Now, in the end, no matter what I say here today or anyone else says anywhere where you are, this is your business. You make the decisions for your business, no one else. People like me and other people can give you suggestions and ideas, okay? But that's the wonderful thing about running our own business. We decide what we do, okay? All right. Second thing is, I do want to make a point that in different places throughout the internet, websites, freelance websites, pay-to-play websites, your own website, there are going to be different rules. Loosely using rules, but different. No, that's actually not true. Some websites, they make you charge a certain price. All right, so like I'm on a bunch of different websites, but for example, I'm on VoiceRealm, and on VoiceRealm, they make you charge a specific price. Okay, meaning like you don't have the option to negotiate pricing or make your own pricing. They have their own rate card, and the people who come through VoiceRealm have to pay that. Same thing with like Voice Jungle. Same thing with Voquent. They have their own pricing, and by you joining that site, you agree to go with their pricing. Okay, that's one thing. So there are those places out there, but the places that you can negotiate your own pricings, right? You need to set your own pricing. Now, before we dive into exactly what pricing here and there, I do want to point out that when early on in my business, this is something I think will really help you guys. Early on in my business, I had this idea that I would charge, something over here, and then I would charge something different over here, and but I didn't have necessarily a reason for charging something different other than I wasn't going through a website. I was just going directly to the client, and basically the client had found that I was charging another price from a different website, and needless to say, they decided never to work with me, and were not very happy with me. So, I think that it is important to make sure that whatever you decide to do, be as consistent as possible, or have a reasoning for why you're charging more over here and not as much over here. There needs to be a reason. So just make that known to you. Okay, so let's talk about rates. I have always looked at rates in a couple of different ways. One, I've looked at them as a way to bridge the gap between, like you just starting off as a voice actor and you are a veteran voice actor, meaning that, if you are just starting off, you're not going to be charging the same amount as I'm charging, right? Or someone who has been in the game for a while, done a lot of work. You're not going to charge the same amount. Yet, I think that's often expected, that new voice actors, no matter what, they come in and everyone charges just the same price no matter what. Okay? And that's just not realistic. And I'll tell you why. Because if that were true and everyone charged the same price, okay, I'm just pointing this out, then how would you choose as a client? How would you choose your voice actor? Well, or your voice actor, right? You would choose the person that has the most experience, all right, that, that has been around, that knows, like, what I'm trying to say to you is that pricing is also a tool that we can use to get work. All right, especially when we're just starting off. It's just something to think about as well. So when you're just starting off and you don't know very much, you know what I mean? It's also a way to get clients to take a chance on you. All right, and I think that that's something to think about as well. Get clients to get a chance on you. That is important to remember. Also, pricing should not be one and done, meaning that when you set a price, that price can change. All right. And I think this idea that, I've charged this for 20 years. Well, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. Again, it's your business. But I think that's not, for me, as I grow, as I buy new equipment, as my studio gets better, as I get more, more experience myself, I do more worked with more top level clients, my prices are going to go up. I'm becoming more in demand. So, a simple look at economics, right? Supply and demand. And I think that that's a great way for us to look at this as voice actors, is don't forget that your pricing can also be based off of your demand. Now, if you've watched me anytime, I'm a real believer in this. And, if the more busy I am, the less time I have to do work, which means that I have to choose the work that I do. Okay, as opposed to all the work that comes my way, I just can do it. But the more, and by the way, that doesn't mean that, if you have a job, a full-time job, and then, you come home and you've got your family duties and then you go to work, that's how much work you have. So that's just as much of you being in demand as if you were doing this all day, every day. Right? So don't think that just because you can only add like, couple hours a day to your voiceover business doesn't mean that those couple hours a day can still determine whether or not you're in demand or not. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So by that being said, if I'm in demand, I'm going to raise my prices, because that's how I can choose who I can do work for and who I can't do work for. Okay, and so this is that supply and demand. And I've always believed that when I was busy or too busy, that I needed to raise my prices. Now, other people have different criteria. They have criteria like, like how many jobs that you've completed, maybe how many clients that you've done, maybe how many reviews you've got, what kind of equipment you have, all this stuff. There's a variety of different ways you can decide. But, the idea here is that through experience, through demand, you raise your prices. All right, so let's actually get into the weeds about the numbers. So clearly, you can charge whatever price you want, okay? But as we know, on places like Fiverr, you start at $5. That's what Fiverr allows you to start at $5. Should you start charging voice work at $5? That is solely up to you. You can decide to do it. You cannot decide to do it. I always, whenever I talk about this, I always try to bring back my own experiences and at least tell you what I went through so that you can then make a decision based off of that. Because I've seen people that I've worked with that started at $5 and people who started at $50. Okay, and I'm solely talking about Fiverr at this moment because honestly speaking, Fiverr, they give you probably the widest range that you have a choice. You know, like you have some of the most choices on Fiverr, meaning what to charge, right? So anyways, so when I started, I charged $5. I think I charged $5 for 150 words. I did that because I had no idea what I was doing. I had never done voiceover before. I had a hobo fort. I had a $40 microphone at the time. You know, I had very little knowledge of what I was doing. And I thought, you know, starting off at that price, for me, it was a good way for me to get a couple of jobs to start. Okay? And I didn't even get that much work because I didn't know what I was doing. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. You know, when you start, you're just beginning. Okay? So anyways, so I did that for about 2.5 years. And I got so busy that I was making about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Now, making $2,000 to $3,000 a month, charging $5 and so forth, you know what I mean? It's my dog walking around back there. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of jobs. Do you know what I mean? I was doing around 80, 90, 100 jobs a month, but wasn't making a lot of money. So I made some realizations that I can't sustain this. I'm so busy, it's ridiculous. And if I ever want to make more money, I'm going to have to raise my prices. So at this point, I'd made, well over $20,000 on Fiverr alone. And I decided that in order to grow, be able to come home from work, go full time, I needed more money. I needed to make about triple of that. And not because I was making triple of that with my job, but because I was worried, you know what I mean, that if I left my job and, my business lost 50% of its business, what would I do? You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be okay if I left my work. So that's why I decided to raise my prices, and then I went to $10. I still had a lot of work. I went to $15. I still had a lot of work. I went to $20. I still had a lot of work. I went to $25. Work kept coming in. I stayed at $25 for a while, but as you can tell, this completely, drastically changed my voiceover business. And in 1 year, and this is, okay, this is really, if I can press upon you guys anything today, this is really important. In 1 year, I went from making $20,000 to over $100,000 on one platform by changing my pricing, but by building a business through charging what I charged before. I think this is what people, maybe overlook. You've got to build something first before, you change your pricing or before, you change your business model. By changing my pricing, I made a massive jump. But the 2.5 years before I did that, you know what I mean? It's like the chicken and the egg. I changed my pricing. I don't know how much a percentage that is, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I mean, five times over, but yet I had built that business up to that point by charging $5. Now listen, in this day and age, I expect you to do what you feel is right for your business. But at the same time, you've got to think your job is to get work. So if your job is to get work, how are you going to get work? Right? If no one wants to hire you because you're brand new, you're unknown, you're just starting out, how are you going to get work? So I think that this is a way for you to get work, is using pricing as a marketing tool. And the idea that people are degrading voiceover, and this has been an argument since I started, 5, almost 6 years ago now in voiceover, right? It's the same argument, and I feel like it probably someone will always have an argument about this. But the fact that what you charge in your pricing degrades voiceover is just to me it's silly. All right, because I feel like the point here is no matter what you do, if someone wants to work with you, okay, and they're going to be willing to pay you what you want. If they don't have that budget, they're not going to work with you anyways. Right? There are going to be some people who want to pay next to nothing for a service, right? And it might be a good match for us to get some new early work. But then later on down the road, there are going to be people who want to work with you who are willing to pay you the price you're charging because they want to work with you. All right? This, and then as you move on further down and you go to different areas in the business, right, where, you move, SAG-AFTRA, and there's different agencies and types of work that pay more, right? That's wonderful. But I really still believe starting off to get jobs, that's your main goal. I mean, so starting at that pricing is up to you. Starting at that pricing is up to you. All right. And clearly $5 is pretty low. I mean, you could charge $1, I guess, but you can't go much lower than that. All right. So it's evident that at that price point, people are working with you to give you to take a chance, but also because they want to try to get something that's decent at an affordable price. All right. And a lot of people, and it's been said too, that why can't people who don't have a lot of money still get a good voice? Why can't they get a good voiceover? And I still believe it too. So I think that there's always going to be both sides of the coin. All right. Now, I think the if we take the look at the other side of the coin and say, if you're charging that, why won't people just start, looking for $5 jobs all the time and not pay higher paying jobs? Well, again, I really firmly believe this, right? You're not going to be charging $5, all right, when you have the experience and the notoriety in your business to charge more. You're not. So at $5, that is not where you want to stay. That is where you can start. Do you know what I'm saying? And I still get work charging way more. I mean, I just don't subscribe to this idea. And here's another thing too you have to consider. There's AI. There's more voice actors in our industry than there have ever been in the history of our industry. Okay, there's so much happening and so many, and there's so much options for people. Okay, we shouldn't limit ourselves. Okay, to different ideas and possibilities and price structuring. Okay. Now, in full disclosure, again, I haven't charged $5 in years for anything. Okay. Or $10. But, I occasionally will change pricing when there are slow spots and it picks back up. See, this is the whole thing I'm trying to get at. No matter what, you're running a business for you and your family. I mean, I guess you could run a business for me and other people in the industry. But you're running a business for you and your family. And, that's your job to make it work. So I just feel like that's why in the end it's your decision. I would love to hear some of y'all's questions. We could talk about this forever. And I think just on a side note too, a lot of times when we talk about these things, there's always multiple sides. And I often agree with all sides. You know what I mean? But in the end, I agree with choice. Like your choice. It should be your choice. At least that's my opinion. Okay? So because of that, I do agree with all sides. I just don't subscribe all the time to it's the end of the world, because someone decides to charge something differently over here. That's all. And I think sometimes it can come out wrong and it can upset people, and I totally understand. So let's go over to the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see where everybody is. Let's see. As we said, Angela was the first one from LinkedIn. It's always good to have you, Angela. Angela Olfest. Jason, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Oh my goodness. And if I say your names wrong, I do apologize. Is it Tufik? I'm not sure if I said that right. Hello, you're from Italy. It's so good to have you. Welcome from Italy. That's awesome. What time is it over there? Let's see. Max, what's up, Max from Spain? Great to have you. Starship Tech. I am not here. I did not say this. Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Good to have you. Angela is now on YouTube. She's everywhere. She's everywhere, folks. Or from the UK. Hello, it's good to have you. I hope I said that right. Let's see, Daniel. Good morning, Anthony from Morrison, Colorado. What's up, Daniel? Janeri. Hi, Anthony. Glad to watch you live from LA. What's up? Good to have you. Yes, coffee first. Absolutely. Let's see. Max says, I'm at 250 words for $5 on Fiverr. I'm doing quite well, earning between $800 to $1,000 from the last 2 months. That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, and I do think, too, that not everybody... I don't know if you guys... Early on, I realized that I wasn't going to be famous. And I didn't necessarily want to be famous. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to go to LA or New York. And I didn't want to, you know, do some of these things. I just wanted to be able to work from my home, you know, enjoy my life, you know, here, not do something that was that I was trying to become some sort of star. So I think that, I mean, that's Max. That's amazing. I mean, really, because that's a part-time job, and that's a good amount of money. So, and you have a lot of room for growth there. Let's see. The funky narrator. Good evening from Osaka. Hello. Now, Osaka, where is that? What Osaka? I don't know where that is. Let's see. Terry says, finally got you live. Hello. What's up, Terry? Good to have you. Max says, I'm at $5 for 250 words. I'm doing okay at the moment, earning around $1,800 over the last 2 months. Okay, I got you. That's even better. Terry says, greetings from Scotland. Awesome. Guys, we got people all over. Italy, Spain, Scotland. I love it. I said Spain, right? Yep. Let's see. Sorcerer? Hi, Anthony. You've inspired me to give a video a shot. Great content. Keep it up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Sorry if I didn't say your name right. Guys, I'm real poor on the names today. I apologize. On Fiverr. Okay. I don't know who that was on Fiverr. Oh, is that from... Maybe that's from Max. I don't know why Facebook does that again. Facebook does that crazy thing where they don't actually tell you their name, at least on this one. But listen, I'm not complaining because this is so much better streaming on different platforms. All right, is it Vishal? What should be the price for a new one? So again, I think that, talking through what I've been saying today, clearly on sites like Fiverr, and the reason why I'm using Fiverr, because at this moment, just on a side note, Fiverr is still the place with the most opportunity than any other platform. It is what it is. I've coached more people that has had more wildly successful careers quickly on Fiverr than any other platform. Now, that's not to say that like Upwork, you can't make a lot of money, or there's you have freelance sites like Voice Bunny, ACX audiobooks. Although these, if you know these sites, they're not the same as Fiverr. So no matter what anyone says about Fiverr, there's people making a lot of money. Please, whatever you do, don't let people fool you to think people aren't making $10, $15, $20,000 a month on Fiverr. That's true. Now, is that everybody? Of course not. Okay, but there are enough to say that platform can feed a lot of people. Now, I will say some news came out recently. I think one of people in our group, at a VO's Journey group, said that they were talking to one of their success coaches. I think it was Gary. Gary Middleton said their success coach said that there are more voice actors in on Fiverr than there are than in any other vertical, meaning like there's more people selling their services through voiceover on Fiverr than any of the other services. So, that's why I think there's like 33,000 gigs up there. Now, that doesn't mean there's that many voice actors, because a lot of us have multiple gigs. But even if there was 10,000 voice actors, the point is that you're competing against that many gigs. And yet, people are still making really good money on that platform. And that's not easy. It's not as easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's difficult. It's a lot harder in a lot of other places. Trust me, I do this every single day, work with people every single day. So yeah. So to answer your question, what pricing should you start? You need to look at, do you have a business already going? Is it up and running? Where are you trying to get to? Or are you trying to just start and get some ball rolling, get some reviews? Reviews are very important. These reviews are vital. I often looked at when I was beginning too as, I'm actually working for reviews. You know what I'm saying? I'm working for reviews, because I would probably give away the voiceovers in order to practice, get reviews, do work, right, when I was first starting. So you can look at it that way. So starting your pricing, you should look at where you are, what you're trying, how much work you've already gotten, and, what we've talked about today. Start there. Let's see. I'm very hesitant to tell you should start at $5 or something like that, because you could start at $5 or you could start at $50, and you might be successful either way or both ways. So in the end, here's a funny thing. When I was first starting my business, my voiceover business, I didn't know what to charge, just like everybody else. But I didn't have communities I was involved in. I didn't have any ideas. So I was actually I talked to my wife. I said, "What do you think I should charge for voiceover?" And she's like, "Well, how much money do you make now? Like an hour, right?" And I was like, "Okay, well, at that time I was teaching, so I was making probably like $25, $27, $28 an hour, something like that." And I was like, "Well, that's how much I'm making now." She's like, "Okay, we'll charge that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, like, that made sense, right? To charge what, because every other job I've ever had, right, you're usually paid by hour. Even if you're on a salary, it can still be broken down by hour. Right. And so when I went about charging that, I realized that, man, even if I charged $5 for 100 words or 150 words, and it took me, 5 minutes to do a job, I was still making pretty good, money. Now, again, that's an assumption that you're just making, every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're doing a job. But in my mind, I was like, how am I going to charge for this? So I think that, that's also another reason why when you step outside of the voiceover community, clients who purchase that are not a part of the industry, other clients, they can be angry at, why some voice actors charge a lot. Now, I'm not talking about our craft, because I've studied, in all fairness too, I have a bachelor's and master's degree, right, in performance and educational leadership. I've been a professional actor. I've toured, I've coached, I've directed. I've been doing this for over 20, 25 years. So it's evident that as someone works with me, they also have to take in consideration they're paying me for all of that experience I bring to the table. But just remember, when we are in a vacuum, kind of like we are now, where there is such an influx of people and choices, okay, that's where an open market, a world market, you're competing with the world. You just have to take that in consideration. So for me, when I was thinking about that, I was like, man, I just want to work. I'll do whatever I can to get work. So that's why I'm not going to give you an exact number, because I don't know who I am to give you an exact number. But that's what I did. All right. I started at $5 at 150 words on Fiverr. Other places, I didn't have that luxury, because other places, pretty much everywhere else, even Upwork, people on Upwork set their price usually. You know what I'm saying? They usually set their budget for you. And most other places do their own rate card. Fiverr really is one of the only places where you can set your stuff. Now, voices.com which I've got some really, I can't say anything out, but I'm really excited about some stuff on voices.com that's coming up that I'm doing there. So, but I can't say it. I said something, but I can't say, I don't know if I'm not supposed to say anything, but I won't say anything more. But I'm doing some cool collaboration with Voices coming up, voices.com. Anyways, voices.com has become a little more recently more open to you setting your pricing. Some people like that, some people don't, and that's okay. Let's go to Skull Season. Yeah, I love it. Yes, Villains of TikTok. By the way, if you're in a TikTok, I just dropped a new challenge. It's pretty darn fun. I like to write my own scripts. I mean, I did one where we did Joker. And that was fun because I love the Joker, right? But I also usually write my own scripts for my voiceover challenges on Fiverr. We're almost up to 20,000 followers on TikTok, so please hop over there. I think it's Anthony Pika 57. Don't ask me why that name, because again, when I start stuff, I have no idea what I'm doing. So stuff happens and it just popped up. I don't even know if I can change my name on TikTok, like to Anthony, but it's still saying like Anthony Pika 57. Go over to TikTok, follow me there. Make sure you like and subscribe this one too. Subscribe here on YouTube as well. But we're having a lot of fun on TikTok. I'm having a lot of fun there as well. So anyways, Skull Season, so it just made me think of all that. Good morning, guys. New to voiceover industry. Welcome. I have a food and gaming channel. Nice. Looking to better my vocal skills and set up my Fiverr account. Great info, sir. Awesome. Yeah, and just on a side note, we'll get to, is it, gosh, I hope Janari, I hope I keep saying that name right, is that, the voiceover is such a wonderful skill to use for all kinds of different things. Voiceover can be a portal for you to build all sorts of different types of revenue streams. So that's what I love about voiceover too. Let's see. Janari says, Anthony, did you mean you made $100,000 on the side when you were still a full-time teacher? Yes. And then I quit. Because when I made that money, I was so exhausted. I wasn't sleeping really because I didn't have time to sleep. I was sleeping about 1 to 2 hours a night. So I was working about like 10 a.m. to like, it got bad. It was like to 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning because I just had so much work, and I started falling asleep at work. I've never been like that my whole life, never been like that. But I was falling asleep uncontrollably. I've talked a little bit about that phrase. I call it the price of success. That was a hard time because doing that work was tough. Because also I was a theater teacher and we did shows. So it wasn't like I would go to school and then just come home. You know what I mean? I had to go to school, and then I had all the after school stuff that I had to do all the time, like doing, live stage performances where I was either directing or doing technical theater, building, and all kinds of stuff. So yes, that was a very hard year, but it was such a pivotal year, and I'm glad that I pushed myself to the brink because it's allowed me to do everything since. I think most people I've coached too go through similar situations like this. There is a boiling point. I know Angela's in here. I know she's still here, but Angela, when we were working together, Angela Olfest, she had a full-time job and she was doing both, and she has a family and she's taking care of them. And, it was just a constant battle, to do what you have to do because you're working basically 2 full-time overtime jobs almost, and I know she went through that too before she left and went full-time. So, there's a lot of struggle, but it's sweet. It is worth it. It is worth it. Terry says reviews count more than money on a new start. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Terry. Danny says playing devil's advocate here. Oh, good. I start a moving business fully equipped. Do I charge $10 a house because I just started? Or do I deserve a business wage? I start a coffee shop. Do I charge a quarter per cup? Oh, I love this. I love this. These analogies, Danny. I think that, for starters, something seems like to compare a moving business where the costs for what you are doing, you've got labor, you've got gas, you've got all these things. Now, as we, for voice actors, put together costs. Now, I was just thinking about this. It seems like those are a really far apart type of jobs. Because like I said, when I first started, there was no cost. I paid $40 for a microphone, and I did, like my packing blankets. My mom gave me a $200 gift certificate to Lowe's, so I didn't pay. So total, I was all in $40 to start my voiceover business, and I was on ACX, so the only thing it was costing me at the time was some sleep. I wasn't doing anything like the computer. We were already using the computer, so there was no electricity or anything that was being used extra. So, you could always we could always play the devil's advocate or the devil's advocate. I would think in a moving business, and please, I don't know much about moving business other than there's a lot of costs that go into a moving business. So you've got to at least cover those costs, right? So, I mean, I don't think $10 would work, because you've got to pay people, you've got to pay gas. Like, there's actual real upfront costs. Whereas I know in voiceover, and I think that's part of some of the issues that have switched the voiceover business, right? Because as a home studio, now I have all of this now. It's not how I started. And my booth is in there. It's not how I started. I started, like I said, with a hobo fort and a $40 a USB microphone that my wife told me I had to take back if I didn't make it successful. I didn't have, that's all the costs I had, right? There was no other costs. And I do think that has also affected the voiceover business, because before, the home studio and technology had become more affordable, equipment was more affordable, right? Then it was very expensive. You had to pay for your rent in a studio. You had to pay for the staff. You had to pay for engineer. You usually had a director. You had equipment. You had to pay for electricity, keep the lights on. All right? Like, these are all upfront costs that you had to pay as a studio. I think we as voice actors don't realize that we're studios, but we usually have a very low overhead. I mean, it's extremely low. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that that's something that I would say. I don't know about the house charging. The cup of coffee, I actually ran a coffee shop unsuccessfully. But I ran a coffee shop. Well, it was right over 2008, 2009 when the housing market crashed and everything. But do you charge a quarter of the cup? Again, I don't know how much you're charging, like how much it costs you for the cup. When I started doing this, I wasn't even looking at making money. Honestly, I just wanted to perform. At the time, I just wanted somebody to be able to look me up on Amazon. So I could say, hey, I'm on Amazon. You can look up Anthony Pica. But I love this analogy, Danny, and I think it's something to be very cognizant of when you are determining your pricing, right? What is it that you need to make? And also, though, I would say that, does these businesses only plan on charging this price forever? Or is this like introductory prices so that they can get business, they can get reviews, they can get going? You know what I mean? Because that's what I always say about our businesses. You shouldn't plan on staying at an opening price forever. It shouldn't be, it's just for you to get your feet in the door. But thank you so much. I think it's important that, we do that. We look at all sides. And then you may decide, you know what? No, I really do want to charge more. And great, go for it, please. Whatever you decide to do, it's your business. I'm thinking about raising my prices from $5 to $10 per 150 words to slow down orders a tad, not because I have too much work on Fiverr, but because I have a ton of audiobook work on ACX. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, so that's what I was talking about, supply and demand, right? In economics, when you're so busy and you can't handle anymore, you raise those rates. And you'll find that from 5, 10, 15, 20, you might actually make more money. You might actually get more work. You might be surprised. Okay? Because once you get going, you move up the levels, we're talking about Fiverr here, you're going to notice that between $5 and $20, there's not a lot of difference. But again, it's that chicken and the egg. So try it all. Why not? Try it all. Danny says, whether you are new or experienced, you should charge a living wage. Whatever you want to charge, Danny, it's all you, ma'am. Elaine says, nobody should work for peanuts. I know rates are going down, but there is a limit. Two-Way Productions, LLC. Hi, Anthony. Sherry from KC area. Hey Sherry, good to have you. Ryan says, thanks, Anthony. Social media rights, same as full broadcast rights. That's something new that's been coming out. That people posting, which I think is actually pretty brilliant because most of the work we do is on social media now. Do you know what I'm saying? So I do think that is something that you can use instead of just doing broadcast rights and commercial rights. So, for the as the pricing goes, there's not a lot out there that just targets social media rights. So it definitely, to me, it should probably be somewhere within that realm of commercial and broadcast rights. So somewhere in between, or could be the same, or maybe a little bit of different pricing to give a variation. But yeah, that is I've been seeing a lot more people charging that as well. I usually just charge when I send a proposal or an offer to someone. And that's another thing, by the way, which I haven't talked about, the base price that you charge something and then the upgrades or whatever, or for rights. I always charge rights no matter what. Now, someone might come back and say they don't need broadcast rights, but I don't think I ever do a job anymore that I don't at least have commercial rights. Now, when you're charging a lower price like $5 or $10, most people at that price level don't want to pay those. But again, you are just starting out. This is not meant to live off of. You know what I mean? And I think, because we had some really great arguments and ideas here today. This is pricing to just start your business off. I've said this over and over again. So you can get the ball rolling. Okay? The goal here is to raise your prices. And I've done it. I've helped people do it. It works. Let's see. Elaine says Canada. Cool. Is it snowing up there in Montreal yet? I know my mom's in Alaska. Although I know Montreal and Alaska are ways apart from each other, but she got like 18 inches the other day. Big Apple voiceover. Thank our great American vet. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I was doing something this morning for Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Thank you so much. If there's any veterans out there, thank you for your service and your dedication to our country, that I can sit here and talk to you guys. So thank you so much. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Let's see. Danny says, how much does a new Uber driver charge versus a new one per trip? Oh, I'm not sure about that. I'm bad when it comes to Uber because I actually don't take Uber. I don't know much about Uber. Sorry. Mike says, my 2 cents price is dictated by what the market will pay you for your service. As you grow your experience and skills and social proof of your skills, the market will place greater value on you. Yeah, I mean, and that's how I always looked at it too, because I did feel and that, if I charge a greater price and no one ever buys from me, you could say, well, you're just not good enough. And there might be some validity in that at some point. But I do think that the reality is that pricing for me has always been fluid, and it's always been a representation of where I am in my business at this point in time. And as my business grows, I charge more. The value of what I offer as it grows, so does my pricing. I love this conversation, you guys. This is great. Let's see. Osaka's in Japan. Awesome. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to say it. But that's awesome. So cool. Thank you. Welcome from Japan. I love it. Let's see. Nikki says, hi there in the UK here. Such a personal subject, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it is. It is. And I really appreciate everybody and all of your, ideas and your opinions. Thank you and your thoughts, because it is very personal, like to our core. I think that it's great. I think that it's great that we can charge what we choose to according to our personal circumstances. I thought that before listening to your Fiverr Fridays that I had to charge the going union rates. It restricted the amount of work I get and where I got it from. Thank you for bringing that up as well, too, because I said it kind of earlier as well, that the idea of like when in Rome, right? So Fiverr, like in the beginning, remember I said that, if you're going to work on Fiverr, which you don't have to, and I know I work with a lot of people who just don't want to work on Fiverr, and that's fine. But if you are going to work on places like Fiverr, just be aware that if you go to that place and you charge something that most people who are going to Fiverr to get work are not purchasing like that, you just might not get as much work. That doesn't mean you can't charge that. You know what I mean? But so, you know what I'm saying? So I do think that's a very good point. You know what I mean? You don't have to, don't just, I would say if it bothers you, don't even be on Fiverr. You don't have to be. But good thing there. Phil from Tokyo, what's up? Wow, that's awesome. We got people from all over. Phil, it's midnight there. I bet it is. Pantheon, oh, I love it. Hi, Anthony. Jeremy from Illinois here. Hey, how about Fiverr getting rid of buyer requests? Yeah, I'm kind of torn about that. I mean, the match system is kind of cool, but it's not really working really well yet. So they've still got work. Like I said, I still get weird requests to do somebody, they're still working on it. But I think getting rid of the buyer request, would I have done that? Probably not. But then I don't know what they're going through. So, I'm not sure. But now the new system does make it harder, I think, to get work because they've taken it out of your hands now. So, yeah. Big Apple says, what are your thoughts about cold calling? I love it. I love cold calling. I love cold calling in a way that can also verify email addresses for you. Do you know what I'm saying? So like it's a great way to verify, I feel, if you know who you're speaking to. Are they accepting demos for their roster? You know what I mean? Are they looking for new voice actors for their roster? I love cold calling. I love cold calling. The only challenge you find with cold calling is that the biggest challenge for me, honestly, is, do I get them or do I get their voicemail? Do they pick up the phone? I find that less and less people are picking up the phone these days. A lot of them like to deal with text messaging. Text messaging has become, and leaving voicemails is becoming a thing of the past. People want to be they rather you leave a text message. So that is becoming more challenging because a lot of the studios you talk to, you're dealing with a person who is using their phone, and that's hard to know the difference. So that's the only thing I see about cold calling, but I love cold calling. I think it's great. And if you approach it from the standpoint of something that Bill DeWeese said a long time ago, which I love to this day, from the standpoint of, like I said, you are looking to ask if they're accepting people, you're accepting demos for their roster instead of asking for a job. It's just a great script that, you'll never really be turned down, as a voice actor. You're just, either they're accepting demos or they're not, you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with you as a voice actor. So I really like that sort of script. Let's see. Nikki UK. Hey, what mic arm do you have there, Anthony? Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so this is the Rode. I think it's like the PSA 1, but it's from Rode. I love it. It is amazing. So this is the one that does not have the spring. It's not spring loaded, and it's my favorite. I bought a couple spring loaded ones, the cheap ones, like $15, $20, $25. They suck. Now this one is around $100 or so, but man, it is worth it. It is fantastic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Rode PSA 1. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's see. Edwin says, maybe off subject, but can we use our VO gear purchases as tax write-offs even though we aren't a business yet? So I'm not a tax expert, so get that up front. So these are just my opinions. If you are not registering any of this as a business, you can't write it off. Right? You can't write it off. Unfortunately, you can't, that I know of. But again, I'm not a tax expert, so that's just that's what I think. But you have to write off a business expense. You got to have a business. So that's my thoughts, though. I don't want to be like, well, Anthony, actually, that's why I pay people who know a lot more than me to help me with my taxes and stuff. Facebook, let's see. Good morning from Manitoba, Canada. Hey, hello. Voiceover Angela is here. She's still here. Oh, that's right, because I asked you earlier. Let's see. Pantheon says, hi, Anthony. Jeremy from Illinois is here. How about Okay, wait a minute. Did we? Yeah, some reason there's sometimes they get, or maybe just put it twice so I'd see it. I don't know. But anyways, Terry says, would it be wise to notify clients on your gig description your prices will raise on a certain date in order to entice more clients like it's a hot sale? Oh, yeah. guys, don't forget that this is a business and it's your job to sell, right? So you're selling. I do think as a person who has been in voiceover or in acting, I've spent so many years working on my craft. I love being an artist. I love the internal discovery, the journey that we go on as voice actor or as actors in general, and the constant, the constant search our whole lives as we do. I mean, that's what it is to be a performer, I think. But this is also a business, and there is a difference between the two, I think, right? We've got to be able to make money. So selling is vital to this. And sales are great. Okay? Sales or notifications, letting people know something's changing, you're upgrading, you're having a 5% off sale or 10% off for the holidays. Absolutely. Well, everyone else does it. Why wouldn't we do it? That's how I feel. Let's see. Ryan says, thank you. Skulls with American flags. Samantha says, happy Friday from rainy Nashville, Tennessee. Happy Friday. Yes, it's raining here too. It's raining here today. It's been pouring. Skull says, need to watch more of your vids, man. Thank you. This is great info. Loaded question. As a newbie, which is better to start on, Fiverr or Upwork? I think it's called both. Both. As a newbie, the best thing that you can do is, start on Fiverr, put everything up on Fiverr, then go to Upwork, put everything up on Upwork, start sending proposals, get on both. But if I would start with one, I would start with Fiverr, but then go to Upwork, Fiverr, Upwork. But don't wait on one and not do the other one, if that makes sense. Yeah. Dale says, I cultivated some good clients from buyer's request. Fiverr screwed the pooch, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm not sure why they got rid of buyer request. That was a source of a lot of business for people. But I'm assuming there was a reason on the back end that they don't, you never know, because people don't always, the companies don't always divulge what was going on. They had kept making changes to buyer requests, so I'm not quite sure why, but I wasn't a fan of them changing it. But again, I don't know why they ended up changing it. Skull says, I have the OG Rodecaster Pro with the Rode mic. Sound quality is awesome. Sweet. Tim says, got a radio imaging client finally. Nice. Edwin says, how about this for the pricing topic? If you don't build your hustle, you can never grow your influence muscle. So build it up and let people see you. Thanks, Anthony. I like that. If you don't build your hustle, you can never grow your influence muscle. That's like a bumper sticker. We got to put that's up like a thing we can put up in our studios. Tim says, happy Veterans Day. Absolutely. Happy Veterans Day. Aubrey, say Aubrey, good morning from the mighty metropolis of Listowel, Ontario. Gosh, I probably screwed that up. In Canada. It is awesome. We've got a lot of people from Canada today. B says, I found a genie at like 15, so I haven't had to work for anything now. I'm 28. That's awesome. I wish, B. Do you have any more wishes, B? I need to give me. I could use some wishes. Let's see. Jerry says, Anthony, when do you do this? I will set my alarm so I could listen. Well, I had to tell you what's going on is usually I'm trying to do coffee talks Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then lives on Fiverr Friday. It's been a disaster keeping that schedule. I switched through a couple of different things, so my hope is to get back on track. And 9:30 or so is when I look to try to go on for 9 to 9:30 for coffee talks. So I'm gonna try to keep to that. Let's see. I meant this live sessions. Yeah. Dale, do you have any vids about setting up your account on Upwork? We got loads of vids on Upwork. I also have, my Upwork 101 course that you could check out on avosjourney.com. And also, I didn't mention it today, but we have a great special going on, 50% off your first month. We're joining the Elite Academy of VO's Journey Elite Academy, where we have live sessions every week. It's all about helping you start and grow your voiceover business. And excitingly, I did our second advanced voice acting class the other night. It's been a blast. we were working on improvisation. We had some hilarious improvisations. So yeah, definitely check that out. There's links below for that. Let's see. He said, B says, it's good being a supervisor or corporate manager and having other businesses to write off on for sure. Skull says, thank you for your responses. Final question, where can I market my voiceovers to funnel potential clients to my Fiverr and Upwork? So this is a really good question because of all the things, I'm torn about this. And the only reason I say is because, sites like Fiverr and Upwork, we pay them a percentage of the work that comes in, right? That we do. They get a percentage because they're going out and bringing in the work. So we pay them a percentage. So if I go and start doing my own work to get jobs, I don't know if I want to give them a percentage of it because I'm doing the work. So what I like to do is funnel to my website. So, and this is the idea too. And here's another thing for, I love the websites, but the goal in the end should be for you to have your own clients. Right, at least that's the overall. That's the goal for me, is always to have my own clients that I work separately, right? Because it's usually the best for the clients and the best for me. Okay, but I like to use places like LinkedIn. LinkedIn really is, because it's very simple to connect with people who are in various businesses. It's easy to find them. It's like a big search engine, and it's the place to be for business. So LinkedIn is a great place to funnel traffic and make connections and build relationships. And a lot of them do buy off of Fiverr or Upwork. Yeah. So definitely LinkedIn. All right, just a couple more here. B, when you move up to different departments for training with 20,000, 35,000 raises, you'd love your job too. Well, there you go. It's good. That's nice. Tim says, but one get one free voiceover. What? Buy one, get one free voiceover. Wonder if they would jump on that offer on Fiverr. I think doing that stuff on Fiverr is hard. Okay, because again, Fiverr is set up a certain. So again, we love Fiverr, but Fiverr has its limits as well. That's why it should only be. I only look at Fiverr as one leg in my marketing. I mean, it's a big one, but one leg in my marketing, right? Because you can try something like that on Fiverr, but Fiverr's not going to like that. And I don't know how you exactly market that because Fiverr's not set up that way. You know what I mean? So do think of it that way. I think it's a great idea, but I don't know how you would do that there. Hire us to work for you, dude. Yeah. Thank you, Tim. I don't know if you're talking to me or B. Sounds like B could hire us. All right, you guys. Hey, listen, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me this morning. I had a blast. We had some good coffee, good company. Thank you so much. This is always such a wonderful topic and a personal topic like we talked about. Thank you, everybody, for your opinions, as always. Love you to death. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Check out Avio's Journey Elite Academy and have a wonderful weekend and happy Veterans Day. Thank you all so much for your service. Have a good day. Bye, everybody. Goodbye.